Okay, so now let's see how we can use signals for writing efficient script. Nowadays I don't use an external script or an external agent for specifying, do this when this happened, like a trigger. So in my old video I was like, literally I was writing a script which will then update a particular task. Now if you are new to my channel, then you can see my old video, like triggering i3blocks from an external script. So what that means is that that's a single script for managing multiple blocks. Okay, so you don't have to maintain many blocks, just one block, one script. I'm sorry, there is one script for many blocks. So that was the idea. So I didn't have much grasp about signals and how they can be efficiently utilized for improving efficiency. And nowadays I use it almost all the time because signals are really useful. It's like a gift for programmers, or you call it. Okay, so now let's see, before moving and before starting to use signal, we have to know a few terms in the signal, Linux signal. That is SIGTERM, and there is standard signals, and there are standard signals, and there are real-time signals. So we are here using real-time signals, and the way we can find real-time signals in our system is by calling the pkill command. Pkill command will tell us how many signals that we have in our system. That is the easiest way that we can find signals in our system. Another way that I found is that one single C program for printing out the real-time signals in our system. So this is basically self-explanatory. We are importing the signal library, and once we import it, we loop through the real-time signals and we print it out. Okay, I think I compiled it. Yeah, we have it. So once I execute it, you can see my real-time signals. There are 31. Now you can see here the real-time signal starts from 34 to 64. And SIGRTMIN is the last signal that you can use in the real-time signals. Now here you can see SIGRTMIN plus 0, and it has its own corresponding integer value 34, and that 34 is this. Now for naming convention, we use SIGRTMIN plus 0, 1, 2, 3 till 30, but actually behind the scenes it is they are all integer values. Now when I say SIGRTMIN plus 30, it is basically meaning that the 64th integer value. So SIGRTMIN means your last signal. So with that in mind, let's explore further a bit to know how signals works, especially in i3blocks. So if I turn on my hotspot, okay, so now I want to introduce my i3 config. So you have to notice this. So I have mode 2, which is basically shift in my case. Then when I press mode plus U, it is basically going to RF kill. It is basically going to unblock the wireless interface, and it is also going to execute NMTUI. If you don't know, NMTUI is basically CLI TUI for scanning networks, and this is basically an AND. If this and this has, if they are 1, then go ahead and send a signal 12 to i3blocks. Now if you send a signal 12 to i3blocks, there must be a listener, or there must be a signal handler for that particular signal. So in my case I have a signal handler here. I will introduce that in a minute, but all you have to know is that there must be a handler, and there must be a sender. So here you can see shift U is sending that particular signal in my case. So if I use shift U, it is basically going to open the NMTUI, and let's go and activate the connection, and it is already activated. And once I close this, as soon as you can see, the network status has changed, and it is now pulling up the SSID, not SSI, yeah, basically the name of the Wi-Fi network as well as the signal, and that script is triggered by this particular signal. Now what this does, it is basically going to execute this particular script when I get signal 12. So this script is basically saying, okay, we have the status. So if the RF kill status is, down, I use this icon, and if it is up, we have a broadcast icon. So that is basically it. All it does is just execute the script. Now if I do shift B, as soon as you can see, it sends a signal 12 to this particular block to update, and it comes here and update the script. Now that is how it works. That is one of the many ways that you can efficiently use signals, and you can use it in the brightness script, you can use it in the battery, and you can almost use it anywhere. The reason why I choose SIGRTMIN 12 is that it's random. As I said, you can choose any real-time signal from 0 to 30. That's up to you, but you have to have the same event handler, signal handler, whatever you call it, must be registered here in this particular block with the same number. So let's say you have SIGRT real-time signal 20 here registered with mode U, then you have to have the same number signal handler here, so you can use it almost everywhere. So why is this useful? Okay, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I was using network dispatcher, which is a kind of, it is actually a module within the network manager tool in Linux, which will basically trigger when our network is up and when the network is down. So it is a system D event or system CTL event. It is kind of a service, it is running all the time, so we don't have to do anything behind the scenes. That service is all, running almost all the time from we start the system. So the downside of it is that there is an extra service running just for triggering our script, which we are doing all these things to improve efficiency and for power management, or efficiency mostly. So if we depend on another script or another handler for triggering this, that's kind of more kind of, I don't know, decrease in the efficiency. So the thing I did in that script was, that was a long script. I don't know how much I took, how much time I took it for that. I was basically triggering from an outside script to come inside the i3 config and then change the interval, and then change the interval back. You don't have to do none of the garbage when you're using signal. So I wanted this some more time earlier, but now I got the time and I tested it. Then I'm using it, as I said, I'm using it all the time. Signals are now a part of my scripting. Whenever possible, I use it. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to shoot this video just because I mentioned about the script. I didn't mention signal in that video, and there are many ways you can use signals in i3blocks. Yeah, you can explore further bit. You can use real-time signals, or you can also use standard signal sig user 1 or sig user 2, that is correspondingly 10 and 12 signal number. I think you can google that up. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you find this helpful, and yeah, thank you all for watching.